Let's go live back to Canberra now. Joining me now is Barnaby Joyce. Thanks for your time. Do you have the numbers? Have you got this one in the bag?
Everybody always says, do you have the numbers, Laura? You don't know. That's up to the people in the party room, and it's about making sure that the National Party turns a corner and gets to the space that it was in when we got things such as the Inland Rail, the $10 billion for the Inland Rail, or the Regional Investment Corporation, or such things as the country of origin labelling, the biggest turnaround in agricultural exports in the history of our nation. The National Party needs to be seen as its own entity, in the colours that people clearly understand, so that if they are the near invisible in the corners of our regional towns or the back streets of our regional cities or on farms, they feel that they have a champion that they can clearly identify with. And in a political landscape where we can see the growth of the One Nations, the shooters and fishers, the independents, we have a duty to them, to give them the best opportunities in a coalition, but to be absolutely and utterly unambiguous that we are the National Party and we'll be fighting for their issues and their issues first.
Sure, I know it's up to the party room. That's a technicality and really a statement of the obvious, but you have been lobbying. You've had some proxies on your behalf lobbying your colleagues. I put it to you that you wouldn't be pulling the trigger on this today if you didn't think you could win.
Well, you wouldn't do something flippantly. And this has been thought through by so many people, not just party members, but people on the street, people in the regional towns. They want to see the National Party as basically as a parochial entity that stands up for them in an unambiguous form.
Okay, but it's not up to the people in the towns. It's up to your 21 colleagues, including yourself, when you walk into that party room at 9 a.m. today. So what promises have you made and what promises have you had in return?
Well, that's the whole point. I hear about people making promises, and of course, if you make a promise to one, you should tell all the others what exactly.
So you haven't made any promises?
No, I haven't.
You've made not one promise about. Okay, so there's 8 prizes. The only promise
I would have had is I believe that Michael I respect Michael, the job that he's done. I believe that, to be quite frank, that we've got bigger issues now that we have to contend with, especially in the light of the current political landscape. Matt Canavan is such an incredible loss. I think that nobody would be suggesting for one moment that he is not one of the most capable people we've got in Cabinet, and it's a terrible loss for our
so you promised him
Cabinet.
You'd put him back into Cabinet.
Well, I just think that's the bleeding obvious, but obviously he's made his own decision that he stepped down, and I hate other people taking a bullet for me. But apart from that, I don't think you'll find one person who I've made a promise to, because that is not the issue. That is what we've got to do is get first principles right. We have to have a vision for the National Party that talks about the Murray-Darling Basin and the economic problems that so many people in Mildura and Shepparton are facing. We've got to deal with the power issues.
You're not known for your platitudes
We've got to deal with the drought
and your soaring rhetoric, and you're giving it to us this morning. You're known as a straight talker, so why won't you straight talk this morning? Why will you be better than Michael McCormack?
I'll stand by my record. Look, I think it's not a case of that I will work with my colleagues to deliver what we have seen from the National Party in the past. You just don't get $10 billion for the Inland Rail.
Sure, but what's the big policy difference here? What's the big policy difference between you and Michael McCormack? Because the Inland Rail funding you're talking about, you're taking credit for personally, where the Nationals would argue the party fought for it.
That who fought for it?
The party, not just you as an individual.
I thought you said tardy. No, well, the party did fight for it, and I was leading the party when we got it. It was part of the coalition agreement. There would have been no coalition agreement, no previous government, unless we'd got that. The Libs wanted Badgerys Creek. We made sure we got the Inland Rail. The Regional Investment Corporation, the Libs did not want that. They hated the idea, but we got it. Country of origin labelling, they didn't like that. We got it. Issues such as when we walked in and said we want $100 million to start the funding of the Boulia to Laverton Road, so we had the third sealed road across Australia. Believe you me, they were not happy about that in the Expenditure Review Committee, but we got it. And we continue to drive for things, making sure in our trade agreements that agricultural issues were at the forefront, so that we got proper delivery on them. Now, the National Party, have done that in the past, and we did that because we were crucial to the Libs forming government.
Well, it sounds like you're promising. It sounds like you're promising better marketing and a fight with the Liberals. Is that about the sum of it?
No, I'm promising that we will understand the issues that are pertinent to regional areas, such as
what does that mean? Issues. And how has Michael McCormack demonstrated that he hasn't understood that? Okay.
Well, you take the issues that we're dealing with right now. How in the Murray-Darling Basin, we've got to make sure that the towns of Shepparton and Mildura survive. In the northern part of Australia, we've got to make sure we've got security of power supplies, and that we actually do get delivery of new power stations so that we can secure those power supplies. Okay, so are you promising
a new coal-fired power station, an expedited scoping study of Collinsville? What is it?
Well, I'm saying that we absolutely have to build new power stations, Laura.
So under your leadership, when will that happen and where?
I'm going to let, Laura, I'll let the party make that decision as to what direction they wish to go, and I'll respect it no matter which way it is. I have given a fair case of what we've done in the past. I've given you a clear indication of issues that are in the future, and the rest is up for our party to decide. I think without a shadow of a doubt, and you've said it yourself, that with my team, with the National Party's team, we will be clearly seen and understood as a national party who are fighting for those who are not just the quiet Australians, but the near invisible ones.
So how has Michael McCormack not done that? Can you give me some clear examples? Because you talk about coal-fired power, and he has fought for the Collinsville scoping study, which is due to happen this year. So are you saying that you promised that would be expedited? Is a coal-fired power station going to be built this year? This is why Matt Canavan quit last night.
We're concentrating on one thing, but it's a vitally important thing. We used to have the cheapest power in the OECD, Laura. Now we have the dearest. And the people that the dearest power hurts the most are the poorest people. And the poorest people live in our electorates. And basically that is why I've always basically created this metaphor of the weatherboard and iron, because I'm clearly saying to our party, these are the people that when you drive past their house, you must consider the circumstances of their life. And power is one aspect of that. But it's also their economic future. If they can't irrigate, then there's no reason for irrigation towns. And if they can't get the water security that they need for a town, so even such as Tamworth,
with great
then there is no economic future
and
for
I
those
know
towns.
you have a huge vision for this nation, but what you're giving us this morning is no short-term commitments. You're giving us sophistry. So what is it that you're actually committing to do before the next election that Michael McCormack is not?
Well, that's not correct, Laura. I've said to you that one of the key issues we've got to deal with power prices, and
but what are you going to do about power prices?
Power stations. But
when's that new power station coming under your leadership?
Laura, you're talking to a backbencher. How about we have this discussion after the ballot?
Who wants to be a leader? Who wants to be Deputy Prime Minister?
And I will stand by my record, Laura, of what we have achieved in the past. If you had had this interview with me before and I said, we're going to deliver on the Inland Rail, then you would have said, well, you did that. The Regional Investment Corporation, well, we did that. With the country of origin labelling, we did that. Putting money to the third sealed road across our nation, we did that. The first tranche of dams funding, we did that. Okay. Greatest turnaround in agricultural exports, well, we did that. And you've asked me now, I've told you two major issues. The economic sustainability of the towns in the Murray-Darling Basin, the power requirements of North Queensland, and making sure that as we go forward that we get these farms that are coming out of drought, coming out of bushfires, back on their feet. And believe you me, I live that experience. I don't have to talk about it, I live it. That's my job when I'm away from here.
Do you deny that you've undermined Michael McCormack at any stage over the last 2 years?
I have always had a very clear understanding of what is required. I think I've been open. I think with Michael and I, we've had frank discussions in the past. I informed Michael yesterday that I was standing against him. That is part of politics. And, you know, I believe that I respect Michael, but after 2 years, I think it's the party has a right to make a decision as to which way they wish to go.
Is there anything you wish to disclose now? Because the reason you lost the leadership of the National Party 2 years ago, it was for things you did not disclose. Is there anything that you need to disclose now before this morning's vote? And will you survive an audit review into the water buyback scheme that's due in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I'll survive an audit to the water buyback scheme. No problems there. And if people are that paltry that the way they want to fight this is with sort of slurs and innuendo. I've dealt with that before, but that says absolutely
I don't think there's been any evidence of that.
A lot about that.
But is there anything that you think needs to be disclosed that hasn't been so far?
Well, no, I don't. No, I don't. Do you have something in mind?
No, but I'm just going on history here.
There's two of us. No.
Okay, well, it's pretty clear. We'll know even clearer results just after 9 o'clock this morning. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Laura. Bye.